Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while, but we are finally ready to kick off with our brand new series. This is it. Welcome to Big Bad Wolfsburg.
The Big Bad Wolf. The Big Bad Wolf.
Welcome back to the Force Knowledge YouTube channel and welcome to Big Bad Wolfsburg, brand new series for the first time on the channel. I'm managing in Germany and Wolfsburg is the team we're going to be managing. Now, on the home screen here today, we're going to have a look at the team, read up a bit on them, have a look at the sort of players we have. Next episode, I hope to get into my first game in the Bundesliga, but today we're just like introducing ourselves to the squad. If you're excited for the new series, please do leave a like down below. Leave any comments down below about what you want me to do. You know, potential targets, tactical suggestions or tactical advice. Anything about the series. If you want to see videos as and when they're turned up on YouTube, do hit that subscribe button. I want to try and get some new people along for this ride. So, you know, spread the word as well. Share this video on Twitter or even on Facebook. I mean, I don't have my channel linked to a Facebook, but because I don't know a lot of people that use it anymore. It's not dead, but I don't really use it as much as I used to. You know, I'm very much active on Twitter and on Discord as well. There's the Football Manager Discord, which I've left a link to in the description as well. And as always, face packs and logos and license fixes are in the description as well. First of all, I'll just tell you about the sort of database that I've picked. I've got a bunch of leagues loaded. I've got some of the big leagues in Europe. I've got the Germans, the Frances, the Spain, England, Italy. I've also got the Netherlands, Belgium and Russia, as well as USA, Brazil and Argentina. That's it. Players, I've got just over 75,000 loaded. I've got a January update, so January transfers are in, but the more recent ones like Ricardo Rodriguez leaving and Luis Gustavo leaving aren't in it. I was going to include those, but that also means you get the changes in the table. So with how the promoted teams up. That might be something you can change, but for this series, we're just going to use the January update. Also, here is my manager, very balanced in terms of the coaching, gone more for the mentals and the working with youngsters. On the mental side, adaptability down to 1, because this is going to be a 1 club save. Determination up to 17, motivating 16. Player knowledge down to 10. We've got scouts to do that, so that's fine. And yeah, that's it really. So let's have a look at the team. The club rather, we'll look at the players in a bit. Let's have a look at the club. So VfL Wolfsburg, founded in 1945, actually started as like a club for people that used to work for Volkswagen, because Wolfsburg, the city, was actually like a city meant for the people that worked for Volkswagen, the car company. So that's how they came about, and their club included other sports. I think it included like athletics and like badminton and things like that. So that's how the team came about. They've only won 1 Bundesliga title, which was 2009, I believe. Is it 2009? Here it is, Bundesliga. Yeah, that was in 2009. That's the only top flight title they've won. They won a double a couple of years ago. They won the DFB Pokal and the Super Cup in 2015. They've won a couple of Oberliga Nord divisions, which I think is a lower league, but I'm not quite sure. So yeah, you know, they've been in the Bundesliga since 1997, so a good 20 years in the top flight. And, you know, they're that top finish, but they've been a very topsy-turvy side. They had some bad finishes around 2006. Their most recent season, they actually only almost got relegated. They finished in 16th place out of 18, which meant that they did have to go through a relegation playoff. Luckily, they did defeat Eintracht Braunschweig 2-0 on aggregate, so they did stay in the Bundesliga. If they had been relegated, I probably would have done this with an updated database to have them in the Zweite Bundesliga and, you know, try and get them back up. I did that with Cercle Bruges a couple of years ago. They got relegated in the Belgian league, so I took charge of them in the second division and brought them back up. So I could have done a similar thing with this one, but they just stayed up, so good for them. So why have I picked Wolfsburg? They had an interesting January. You know, I picked Sevilla initially because they had an interesting transfer window and they made purchases in the January window. Wolfsburg did the same thing, but it didn't work out well for them and they finished, you know, as low as they did. So the idea behind Wolfsburg was to pick a team that didn't have a very good season and a team that, you know, very much underachieved. So that's why I picked Wolfsburg. See a few other accolades in competitions there. You can see they were runners-up in the Bundesliga in 2015. and they were runners-up in the DFB Pokal in 95. That's like their FA Cup. That's their domestic trophy. I think there's anything else there of any note. No European stuff at all. They've had some European competitions. Let's see if we can find that. So the last European competition they were in the 2015-2016 Champions League. They got to the quarterfinals where they lost to Real Madrid 3-2 on aggregate. Didn't qualify for it this season because they finished 8th place. Even though they won the DFB Pokal, apparently that doesn't get you any sort of European spot. I think that is the best they've done in Europe is the quarterfinals of the Champions League. They've been in the Europa League as well. They've reached a few quarterfinals there. UEFA Cup, they got to the last 32 in 2009. So yeah, they've never got past the quarterfinals in either of the European competitions. So it'd be nice to try and get them some silverware of some sort. We'll certainly give it a go. In terms of facilities, they've got a 30,000 stadium, 22,000 of which are seated. We could try and extend that. We'll have a go. That was built in 2002. Good corporate facilities, impressive training facilities, great youth facilities. Got a 1-year stadium sponsorship deal, average junior coaching and above average youth recruitment. We'll try and improve those as much as we can, as often as we can. I've got some derbies. There's a derby with Hanover and one with Braunschweig. I guess they're local derbies. Yeah, they're other rivals. So they're the local rivals. We haven't got any massive top flight derbies because Braunschweig, I think, are in the lower division. They're in the Zwei Bundesliga. Hanover also in the Zwei Bundesliga. Just been relegated last season, actually. Rich finances. The owner loves the club. Value of £275 million. Average ticket price £18. Average season ticket price £181, which is peanuts compared to Arsenal season tickets being like £900 or whatever. I mean, Bundesliga tickets for games are so cheap. It's ridiculous. Premier League could learn something from this. And of the 30,000 that are seated, 21,500 are season ticket holders. So I think that is about it. Let's go through some meetings and stuff, and then we'll have a look at the team. So let's attend the meeting with the chairman. Let's see what he wants from us. The only philosophy we'll have is we have to develop players using the club's youth system. I can do that. Okay, so transfer update. So here we've got a couple of players in on loan. We have a player coming from Dresden on the 1st of January. That is Marvin Stefaniuk, who's a 21-year-old winger, who we haven't got fully scouted, but he looks okay. I don't have attribute masking disabled, so we can't see all of the attributes unless we get people fully scouted. It's only natural. We won't know everything about every player, will we? So I don't have the attribute masking disabled. The only other players we have in, from Real Madrid, we have Borja Mayoral, a striker, who doesn't look too bad. Certainly got some potential about him. Only 19 as well. And I know you start off with Mario Gomez injured, so he may start at the start of the season. But he might not, depending on what tactic we're playing. I've got an idea for a tactic. You'll see it in a minute. Only other player on loan is Philip Wolfsburg from Stoke on loan. I've used him before. I used him last year when we managed Stoke. He was, very much a key player in our defence. And he looks very good. So while we have him, I think he will play. Even though he's only 2.5 star. I think he could be okay. We've got a bunch of players out on loan. Francisco Rodriguez, Anton Doncourt, Pitaro, Springer, Druers, Asquez and Ricardo. I'll look at these guys once they come back to decide if we want to keep them or not. Because for now, they're not in the club and they're not really of that much importance to us unless we need to recall them. So I mentioned that injury-wise, we are in a bit of a tight spot. So we have 5 players out injured and they're all quite long-term. So we've got Paul George and Tep out, who is a left-sided midfielder. Again, a player I've used before. I think I signed him for Stoke, if I'm not mistaken. He broke his leg a while back, so he's going to be out for a few more weeks. Mario Gomez is out for between 5 and 8 weeks with a hamstring injury, our key striker. Vieirinha is a wing-back / right winger. He's going to be out for up to 3 months with an ankle injury. Joshua Gilavogi's out for 4 to 5 months with a neck injury. And Sebastian Jung, the right back, is out with a cruciate injury for 5 to 6 months. So that is 5 players. All seem to be quite good players. They're going to be out for an extended period of time. At the moment, I'm in charge of all responsibilities apart from opposition instructions, which are handled by our assistant manager, Freddie Lundberg. He doesn't have the crazy hairstyles he used to have when he was at Arsenal. Far from it. Okay, so let's look at the season expectations then. So for the Bundesliga, we're expected to qualify for the Europa League. And for the DFB Pokal, we're expected to reach the quarterfinals. Now, this past season, they got to the last 16 where they were knocked out by Bayern. So we'll try and build on that, try and improve that. So where would you have to finish to get a Europa League place then? Let's have a look at the rules for the Bundesliga and have a look. So continental qualification, let's see. So the top 3 teams qualify for the Champions League group stage. 4th place gets into the Champions League playoff. 5th and 6th get into the Europa League group stage. So it's a top 6 finish we want. The team in 7th gets into the Europa League 3rd qualifying round, depending on the winner of the DFB Pokal. So I guess if one of the top 6 teams wins it, then the 7th position will get into the 3rd qualifier. That's strange though, because Wolfsburg won the Pokal in 2015 and didn't get into Europe. So maybe it's changed since then. So we know we need a top 6 finish. Those requirements or those achievements will guarantee a 15 million transfer budget, which isn't too bad. You know, it's better than nothing. Let's have a team meeting, and I know we'll say what the board says. We'll go for Europa League. You know, considering where they finished last season, I think we can do well. There's a couple of players that think we should be aiming higher, but I'm just managing expectations. That's not bad. Ricardo Rodriguez is on abysmal morale. I wonder why that is. I know he wants to move in real life, probably. He preferred not to play in Italy. Has he not just joined AC Milan? Never mind. I forget it. Is it Milan he's joined, or is it PSG? I think Luis Gustavo went to PSG. I think Rodriguez went to Milan. Okay, well, may call our guys available for this first match. Our first friendly is against Thun in Switzerland. We've got a little bit of a tour of Switzerland for pre-season. We've got a bunch of Swiss teams. Oh my god, we've got loads of friendlies. Wow. Well, the season starts really late in Germany, I forget. Stade Reims we face in France. The first 4 teams are all Swiss. Then we've got a home game against Betis. Then we go to Portugal to face Setúbal. Then we host Granada and Bremen before we have our first DFB Pokal game against Hauenstein. And we'll start the next episode, assuming I can get all these games out of the way, we'll start the Bundesliga with a home game against Freiburg. Okay, there's no match preparation at the moment. I haven't got a tactic created, but I have one in mind. I might leave friendlies up to Lundberg, but I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Okay, so let's have a look at this team report then. So plenty of pros, only a couple of cons. That's fine. So let's have a look at the strengths then. A lot of depth in defence. Gerhardt's a player that can play at left back. Lots of youth prospects such as Simen. I've heard good things about him. I've had people telling me to use him straight away. Might do that. Individual and collective teamwork. 3 players who can feature as a goalkeeper. Strong options at left back. Strong options in centre midfield. Strong options as a striker. Well, Gomez behind him, not a lot apparently. Lots of decision makers, a really hard-working squad, physically strong squads, good standard of passing, room in the transfer budget and the wage budget. One of the best coaching teams in the competition, one of the best scouting teams in the competition. Only a couple of weaknesses, and that is a depth behind Mario Gomez up front and quality depth outside of the first team. So, we know what we need to do. It looks like we have a pretty strong team. I hopefully won't need to do much work in the transfer window in this early part of the series, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so we've got a press conference here, but I'm not going to do that now. You know, press conferences are pretty much the same. If you've done one, you've done them all. You know, they always say they're going to change press conferences, and it's the same questions every time. So let's have a look at the team then. So let's sort this by ability and see who we've got. So up top, we see Luis Gustavo here, the Brazilian midfielder. Very much a defensive midfielder. No longer at Wolfsburg in real life. He's just joined... Is it PSG? I forget. Oh, it's Marseille. So it was French. I was almost right. Ricardo Rodriguez. I'm sure he went to AC Milan. Yeah, Milan. That's what I thought. So in terms of other key players, Mario Gomez is 4 stars. Of course, he's out for a few weeks with that hamstring injury. He would be a key player if he'd be able to play. But I might not be playing with a striker with my first tactic. So it might be strikerless. So I don't know what we're going to do with Mario Gomez. What do you do with a striker if you're playing a strikerless tactic? Do you try and change him to a shadow striker? Do you try and change his role? I'm not quite sure. Also, here we have Ricardo Rodriguez, the left back. You know, he's one of the top ones in Europe, Swiss. Wanted already, 14 million value. We can get some money for him, definitely. But we'd need to buy a replacement, which, for 15 million, and you have one of the best left backs in Europe, it's hard to get someone of the same level, especially for 15 million in today's market. Also, we've got Didavi, who's an attacking midfielder. I'll try and fit him in if we can. Gerhardt at left back, he looks quite good. He could be, good backup to Rodriguez. He could take his place and become first choice. Not quite sure. Maximilian Arnold, midfielder. Mali is on holiday. He's an attacking midfielder. Robin Knock, centre back. Bazoa or Bowser, as people have called him. Gilavogi. We've got Benaglia, and a goalkeeper is a bit of a issue because Benaglia is 32, and he's not going to be here forever, so he will need replacing probably next season or maybe this season. Otherwise, we've got Cohen Castiles, who's 24, got a little bit of potential about him, but I think we can improve on him. And we have one more, I think, as well. What's his name? Patrick Jewis, who's on loan at the moment, but he's not really going to amount to anything. So I do think we need a decent goalkeeper or a top goalkeeper who's, maybe a little bit younger than Benaglio is. Looking at the under-19s, there's no one here that really stands out. But if we go into our B team, as you can see, there's people available here. If we go to our B team, we've got a guy here called Ismail Azawi, who's a left midfielder who is 18 and looks like he's got great potential. There you see Mayoral as well, the guy we've got on loan. We've got Gianluca Ita, 17-year-old left-back, who's got some potential. And here is Victor Osimhen. He's a Nigerian striker. Doesn't look too bad at all. I've been told to use him straight away. So, we'll definitely try and fit him in pre-season. And if he does well, then I'm sure he'll be called up to the main team. Got good physicals for a 17-year-old. And, he'll definitely improve with time, I'm sure. I think that'll be where we leave it today. I haven't done a tactic yet, but I'll just tell you now, I'm thinking of going strikerless. I'm thinking of a 4-2-4 strikerless. Maybe drag one of those guys deeper, maybe have Gustavo in there. But I'm not decided yet. Let me know what sort of thing you should play. This is my very provisional tactic. But, I haven't even done the roles. But I'm thinking of a 4-2-4 strikerless, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today. I think we've been recording for about half an hour. It will be cut down, so hopefully this will be about a 20-minute video. That's the kind of length that I like to do. So, that's going to do it for today. As always, if you enjoy the videos, leave a like down below. If you're excited for the new series, leave a like and leave in the comments down below. And if you want to see videos as and when they're turned up on YouTube, hit subscribe. I'll see you soon for episode 2, where hopefully we'll be ready for our first game in the Bundesliga, but there's a lot of pre-season to get through. So, it may be a couple of days, but I'm not quite sure. I might have my assistant do the friendlies though, so it may not take as long if he doesn't. Yeah, hopefully you're excited for the new series. I am. Should be a lot of fun. So hopefully you will join me for the ride. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.